Okay, it's tile day. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna flatten out a few little spots on the leveling compound with an angle grinder. Make sure to wear some safety glasses. And that'll be perfect for a base to set that tile on. Just center our tile. I I like to center things out, kind of lay things out first, pre-cut a bunch of things, and then start gluing it down. Gives you an idea where you're gonna screw up before you do. I lay down like one of those little borders. I got like the cheap plastic type, which is fine for what we're doing because we're using LVP up against it, so that'll be fine. And so less talking and more doing. I'll show you what we got going on. Meet you there. All right, here's the spot. I'm just gonna take down some of the high spots like this lip on the edge. And there's a couple spots there on the edge. Most of it's from where that border was. Spot right there. I'm just gonna do that with an angled grinder, make as much dust as possible so I have to vacuum and sweep later. And make sure you have plenty of extension cord. Alright, so we ground down all the edges, all the high spots, and that wasn't as dusty as I was expecting because I had the air conditioning on, and so that'll be nicely redistributed all over the house. So yeah, just a reminder, if you got something going on like that, leave the door open and turn the air conditioning off. Maybe get a fan. Okay, next step, we're gonna prep for tile. Okay, we gotta find the center of the floor. The important thing is to make it look good. I mean, there's gonna be people that critique it if you got like a weird shape over here versus over here. I always try to get the tile in the center and then work my way so that you don't have like a little sliver over here in front of the door that's gonna crack because it's a sliver, and that you don't have like odd shape up here going up against the wall. In a perfect world, you hardly have to make any cuts, but you're gonna have to make cuts with this because it's small space and the chances are cuts. So this is from over here to here is 48 inches. I'm sorry, 58 inches. So we're at 29 and some change. Hold on a second, I don't think my math is right on that. Math has been checked and approved by my mathematicians at 58 divided by 2 is 29. Anyway, so yeah, so we're gonna sit here at our 29-inch area and try to get it close to where you think the center is and make a good mark there so that your next mark will be big enough to intersect it. Once you find your center here, you want to make your line long enough, or at least guess, so that you hit it, you intersect it. Because if you've made your line up here and your center's down here, you're gonna have a line going this way and this way, and it won't intersect, so you won't know where your center is. So make it long enough, and then I'll measure this out. And we'll find the center, and hopefully we'll be on our cross. Of course that's gonna happen. And my phone is ringing. Alright. So this is 38.5. All right, this is our general spacing, but you'll see all the cuts that you're gonna have to make when you do this layout. We've got a good even cut on both sides, so nothing goofy. This is gonna be a fun cut to make. I'll probably break that a dozen times. But yeah, so probably shouldn't step on those while there's no support under them. So there are all your cuts you're gonna have to make. It's a tight space, it's gonna be a lot of cuts. But it looks good. Center tile looks good. Walking in from the outside, it's gonna look great. I think the blended tile actually looks good. It looks better in person than it does looking through this screen, but just get a neutral grout in there, and I'm gonna start cutting some of these things. All right, I'm gonna set up my saw and show you how it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna make one of my difficult cuts first. You can see I started using some of the spacers just to get that line right. But this one's gonna be tough. I'm gonna try to make this cut here so you don't have that big grout line right up against the wall. Just make it look better. Over here, I'm not as worried about it. Get a little bit closer. Over here, I'm not as worried about it because that's like 1/4 of an inch. But this over here is, I mean, that's probably less than 1/4 of an inch. But this over here is like 1/2 inch, and I'd like to get a notch cut out of that. It's gonna get creative with the tile saw. Same thing over there. I'm gonna try to make those cuts. And if you can't, you know, grout's your friend in this. Wasn't tight, so you gotta set up your grout shims first. As you can see right there, you know, that's not set up yet, so I gotta get that right before I can get that right. So that tile is actually going to be, you know, that much closer to the wall, so I'm going to have to make even a smaller sliver of a cut. So I'm going to start here just to get the hard stuff done first, and then do this line all the way, and then work my way, paint myself into a corner nonetheless. But I do have another door I can get out of over there, so yeah, I could work from here. Be a little bit easier because then I wouldn't have my back up against the wall. Maybe I should do that instead. So anyway, so like I was saying, we're gonna start over here, work off this wall, come over, and then work our way back. Smart. So first cut's gonna be this corner. I'm gonna measure off this wall. I'm gonna keep it at 7 inches. A 7-inch cut off the 12-inch tile over here. And then this one should be about the same. Yeah. So we're gonna have 7 inch. This is gonna be 12, obviously. And 7 inches over and 7 inches up. So we'll draw that out on a tile and we'll use it as a guide. All right, here's our 7-inch line here. Down, 7-inch line over. Don't pay no attention to that. I'm gonna mark this off with my square, and then I'll have a perfect guide to go by, and should fall right in. This is not a wet saw, but I do have a bottle of water around here somewhere. It's not technically a wet saw, but it is a wet dry saw, and it's 600 years old. Right now. Okay, as you can see, this is not exactly the appropriate tool to use with this. Might not be the right blade for this type of tile, but it'll get the job done. How you do stuff wrong the right way. So I've got most of my tile cut and placed. This is not glued down yet, that's next. Once you get your lines set up, a good idea would be to grid everything out, like off your center line. I know some people actually grid everything out. Like you'll see the tile drawn out on the ground. But I was gonna grid, you know, just down the middle, and then base everything off that. I actually put like little dots down there, so later I can just trace them. And I think I'm gonna start off with these two tiles, set them, and then work my way out and around. And we'll go over that when I start doing it. Okay, see you in about a minute. Okay, so we got our layout. We're about to set our first tile. This is the correct dimensions for a hand trowel that you're supposed to use for this type of tile. Depth, you gotta check on that stuff. We're using a pre-mixed, ready to use simple set. For a project this big, it's all you're gonna need really. I know people kind of frown upon this stuff, but I do recommend the pre-mix. You can mix however much you want, however little you want. But I think this will be just the perfect amount. The pre-mix stuff takes a little while longer to set up. You don't really want to obviously walk on it right away. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna spot out these two tiles. You got to go over your line a little bit so that when you go to set your next tile, you don't have a gap. You don't want a gap in there. Anything that's going to create a loose spot. And this is such a tight space, it's hard to find room. So since I have mismatched tiles, I have to remember that I'm using a white tile and then a brown tile. White tile, brown tile, tile. That's why I wish I had a bigger bucket. Lay your line out. And you don't have to go like you're trying to spackle a wall or something. Lay your lines out even. Don't dig in too deep. You want a good deep thin set. I'll actually mark my line in the thin set. So nobody ever talks about that. So when you put your thin set down, you get rid of your lines, your reference points with this thin set. I try to remember to actually mark it down. So I'll leave a little bit showing, and then I'll mark it down with the trowel in the actual thin set. Like, there's my line. The best way to do this would be with a laser. So you always have a line. Get your laser set up. Set it, get your line, and you'll never lose it. You're not gonna cover it up. Now I've got it mostly covered up. And I won't know where it's at, so I'll either have to remeasure everything before I put it down, or I have to make sure that I keep track of it, try to butt up to it. But then you want to go over it a little bit so that the next tile, you're not getting thin set all over your next row. There it goes. She's going. That will get us started. Set our first tile. Now, brown, this was whiter, right there. You can actually see it. Set it, wiggle it, jiggle it. Okay, so we got all our tile set. I got a little messy with the tile glue, but there's the idea. Everything's centered nicely. Everything seems level. plenty of room for grout. Made sure to clean out my grout lines. I am going to be scrubbing the you-know-what out of this tile because I got thin set all over it. But yeah, we based everything off that center line. Then I started to do the back wall. And actually I started off my grid right here. And then I did that tile and then worked my way back and forth. Finished that row and came back and finished this row. I was going to do a time lapse on that, but my battery died and I'm in the middle of nowhere, so I had to go. I didn't have a charger for this, but I did have one on my radio in my truck, so I went back to the truck and charged it up. But we used our border there on both sides. Looks good, and I kind of like it. The blended tile look. It's not in your face, but it gives you kind of a slight mudroom here. You can throw your shoes over there in that corner. There's plenty of room for that, and it kind of sets the mood as you come in. It's a good touch to a nice bright trailer or mobile home. But okay, I'm gonna take this video back and try to make something of it. I got a lot more flooring to do. Alright, I'll show you me because I am an absolute mess right now. I had fun time with my my tile saw that isn't necessarily a water saw, but has been kind of converted to one. It doesn't like electrocute you or anything, but yeah, I got a little tile dust on me. But all right, I hope you enjoyed. Oh, and if you subscribe and like and all that stuff, I might be able to afford a decent tile saw for this. Yeah, keep that in mind. Spread the word. Eventually I'll be getting to doing some car rescues. I got my best Bob Vila on today too. Did you notice that? He's making him proud. All right, thank you guys.